As moviegoers, we tend to think we've got pretty good instincts about whether a movie is going to be good or not. Audiences have become incredibly savvy at sniffing out a dud in the making. And in the case of these 10 upcoming movies, each has certainly invited its fair share of pre-release skepticism. But there are also reasons to believe that each of them could actually turn out far better than the vocal majority thinks. I'm Ellie for What Culture, and these are 10 upcoming movies that might be better than expected. Number 10, Captain America: Brave New World. The PR cycle for the fourth Captain America film has been a rough one, with relentless reports about the superhero sequel's troubled production, from apparently disastrous test screenings to 3 rounds of reshoots, and a budget rumoured to be as high as $400 million, a figure albeit disputed by Disney. Then there's the fact that many Marvel fans, casual and hardcore alike, simply don't see Anthony Mackie's Falcon as the Captain America, and so may struggle to muster much interest in what they see as a less-than take on the iconic superhero. And yet, the trailers, honestly, still look pretty good. While it wouldn't be the first time that Hollywood successfully disguised a turkey in a series of glossy, attention-grabbing trailers, it's tough to accept that Captain America: Brave New World is a pure disaster in the making. Don't be shocked if the film is a solidly entertaining 3-star superhero flick, yet one that hardly rejuvenates mainstream interest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. For the many expecting a train wreck, though, they just might be disappointed when it's actually perfectly fine.
From the brilliant minds that brought you the Build Your Own Iron Man model, FanHome are inviting you to swing into the Marvel Universe once again, and this time bring the iconic Iron Spider to life. Designed for true fans of both Iron Man and Spider-Man, and just the MCU in general, this exclusive build-up model offers the ultimate experience for collectors. And an amazing one at that. Yes, get it? Because never mind. Piece by piece, assemble your very own Iron Spider suits. Yep, the same one that you saw in Infinity War and Endgame, complete with absolutely stunning detail and intricate components. Feel the thrill as you recreate the powerful fusion of Iron Man's tech and Spider-Man's agility. Iron Spider lets you become part of the adventure, folks, because, well, it does whatever a spider can. Trust me, we went to see it in Barcelona, and it was even more impressive in real life. I didn't think that'd be possible. I saw the images, and I saw it for myself. I was like, oh my goodness, it lives up to the hype. So get ready to suit up and let your inner hero rise and climb and thwip. This unbelievable model, one that boasts changeable eyes with different expressions, also comes with magazines that dive into Spidey's story both within the MCU and outside of it. In other words, it's an essential model for all you webheads out there. So click the link in the description below and use the code IronCulture to get yours today.
Number 9, Until Dawn. There were many raised eyebrows when a film adaptation of hit cinematic horror game Until Dawn was first announced. On one hand, some decried that the game's more high-profile cast members wouldn't appear in the film, but on the other, many questioned the point of adapting a video game into a movie, which already feels so heavily indebted to cinema, beyond the obvious financial incentive, of course. But then the first trailer for Until Dawn dropped, and everything changed. Turns out that the movie appears to be a rather clever remix of the game's concept, with the central victim sent back to the start of a time loop every time they're murdered. And as a cherry on top, each new loop appears to take place in a different horror subgenre. The only way for the group to escape? Survive, you guessed it, until dawn. While purists might balk at the deviations from the game's story and concept, it at least seems like an inspired attempt to avoid merely rehashing the already cinematic source material. And with the reliable director David F. Sandberg at the helm, there's every possibility that this is one of 2025's big surprise hits. Number 8, from the world of John Wick, Ballerina. By the time this Ana de Armas starring John Wick spin-off releases this coming June, more than 2.5 years will have passed from when it started shooting. That's rarely a good sign, especially when we're not talking about a huge-scale mega-budget blockbuster like the Mission Impossible sequel, but a more pared-down mid-budget action enterprise. But amid reports of disastrous test screenings and lengthy reshoots, as well as franchise star Ian McShane straight up admitting that the film wasn't good enough in its first iteration, fans understandably became concerned. Then there's the fact that Underworld's director Len Wiseman has just a single critically well-received film to his name, 2007's Live Free or Die Hard, at which point one has to question why one of the dozens of skilled action filmmakers working today wasn't hired instead. But there are some encouraging signs. Firstly, that franchise director Chad Stahelski reportedly took over reshoots from Wiseman, with some claiming that he even spent 3 months reshooting the vast majority of the movie. That's certainly better than just putting out a dud and hoping for the best. Lionsgate has given the crew the time and the money to course correct an apparently sinking ship. And considering that the most recent trailers for Ballerina actually look rock solid, it may well have been saved from disaster. Number 7, Jurassic World Rebirth. It's incredibly easy to be a downer about the upcoming 7th Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic World Rebirth, given that not a single one of the 5 sequels to date has risen above aggressive mediocrity. And so the speed with which Universal is soft rebooting the IP with this new entry doesn't really invite audiences to expect much more than the usual half-baked blockbuster schlock Jurassic Park fans have been routinely served over the last quarter century. Yet there are a few interesting kernels which suggest that Rebirth could in fact be the best Jurassic sequel to date. Even ignoring a killer cast, including the likes of Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali, because these movies waste great actors on the regular, let's be honest, Rebirth has Gareth Edwards in the director's chair. Edwards has proven himself a capable blockbuster filmmaker with a knack for wringing every last drop out of his budgets. And his background as a visual effects artist gives him an uncommon aptitude for working on VFX-heavy productions. The script will also be penned by David Koepp, who wrote the first 2 Jurassic Park films, and recently teased that Rebirth will feature a sequence from Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park novel, one which was scrapped from the original Steven Spielberg-directed movie. While you'd be foolish to be too optimistic about this, it does seem like Rebirth just might buck the series' trend of relentlessly disappointing sequels. Number 6, Resident Evil Reboot. It's no secret that the Resident Evil franchise has inexplicably struggled to deliver a live-action film adaptation that's both good and faithful. Paul W.S. Anderson's original 2002 film was fun, but bore little resemblance to the games, while 2021's Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City was far more faithful, but otherwise awful. After Welcome to Raccoon City underperformed at the box office, rumours soon swirled that Constantin Film was busy prepping another Resident Evil movie reboot, prompting long-suffering franchise fans to roll their eyes and doubt that much good would come of it. But then the wildly unexpected news dropped that Barbarian director Zach Cregers is currently attached to write and direct the new Resident Evil film. Given the critical and commercial reception to Cregers' unforgettable debut, it's little surprise that his new take on Resident Evil has sparked quite the bidding war among distributors, with Warner Brothers and Netflix being among the outfits aggressively trying to court the filmmaker. While we know basically nothing about Cregers' take at the moment, he's by far the most talented creative to be handed the Resident Evil movie baton to date, so he just might pull off what those before him couldn't. Number 5, Anaconda. The world certainly wasn't screaming out for a new Anaconda movie, and one that's an action-packed horror comedy starring Jack Black and Paul Rudd being released at Christmas, no less. Everything about this project screams weird as hell. But it is worth considering that this reimagining of Anaconda is being directed by Tom Gormican, who previously helmed the hilarious action comedy The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And Gormican will reunite with his co-writer on that movie, Kevin Etten. This certainly suggests that the new Anaconda is going to strike a surreal, off-the-wall tone. And going by the blue language used by Jack Black in the announcement video, it's also going to be R-rated. And so, in the very least, Anaconda is going to have some naughty laughs and a ton of gore, which, given Hollywood's obsession with PG-13 4-quadrant blockbusters, was never a guarantee. The wider ensemble cast is also stacked, with Black and Rudd being joined by Daniela Melchior, Tandy Newton, and Steve Zahn, among others. Number 4, The Legend of Zelda. There are few upcoming video game adaptations riskier or more challenging than The Legend of Zelda. In addition to being one of the most beloved video game franchises of all time, its fantastical world seems inherently better suited to an animated retelling. And of course, there's the fact that protagonist Link doesn't talk in the games. These hurdles certainly present myriad opportunities for a live-action Zelda film to look cheap or come off unintentionally unintentionally comical, but there is at least some solid filmmaking pedigree behind it. Director Wes Ball did a fantastic job making the relatively low-budget Maze Runner movies look considerably more expensive than they were, and most recently stepped up his game for the gorgeous Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Ball clearly knows how to stage dazzling big-scale action that has heart to it, and has spoken extensively about his love for the Zelda franchise, as well as his desire to do right by fans and take the assignment seriously. Plus, with Nintendo being intimately involved in the film's development, they should stop it going too far wrong. I mean, that's the hope at least. Number 3, Scream 7. Though Scream 7 should have had an easy path to production following the success of Scream 6, the unexpected firing of Melissa Barrera and swift exit of co-star Jenna Ortega in late 2023 left producers scrambling to reassemble a new sequel. And so it's easy to be apprehensive about this one, which will cast aside Barrera and Ortega's Carpenter sisters while bringing original heroine Sidney Prescott back into the fold. Given that Sidney seemed to earn her happy ending by the conclusion of the 5th film, there's a fair whiff of desperation about this one. Not to ignore that filmmakers Radio Silence, who helmed the 5th and 6th movies, opted not to return, and their replacement, Christopher Landon, also vacated the director's chair. But there are some tantalizing nuggets nevertheless. This will be the first entry directed by franchise creator Kevin Williamson, who wrote the 1st, 2nd, and 4th Scream films. Basically, the 3 best ones. Also, though we won't see the entirety of the core 4 in Scream 7, Jasmine Savoy Brown and Mason Gooding will return as Mindy and Chad, respectively, ensuring that there's still some connective tissue to the 2 prior movies. There are many reasons to be cautious about the film and remain sour about Barrera's dismissal, but this wouldn't be the first time that an imperiled Scream sequel with a ton of negative pre-release buzz defied the odds. Number 2, a Minecraft movie. A movie based on hit video game Minecraft has been in the works for more than a decade. Its prolonged, troubled development enough to suggest that perhaps the video game should just stay a video game. After all, not every hit game is well suited to the big screen treatment. And the first teaser trailer for a Minecraft movie certainly did little to silence the doubters, with many criticising its overly broad humour, wonky VFX, and garish sitcom-esque lighting. But the second trailer made a far more persuasive case for the film being a spirited adventure romp in the vein of the recent Jumanji movies. Sure, it doesn't look amazing by any means, but it at least has some decent laughs courtesy of its cast and is jam-packed with Easter eggs for Minecraft mega fans to seek out. Plus, a Minecraft movie is being directed by Napoleon Dynamite filmmaker Jared Hess, whose penchant for disarming quirk should hopefully make this undeniable product feel a little less corporate. Number 1, Final Destination Bloodlines. The number of good horror sequels with the word Bloodlines in their title is incredibly low, and so it's tough not to show some immediate side-eye to the impending Final Destination Bloodlines. This long-gestating 6th entry into the hit horror franchise serves as something of a soft reboot for the IP. And while some might feel that Final Destination firmly ran its course after 5 movies, the last of which brilliantly circled back to the original, there are embers of greater promise here. For starters, Adam Stein and Zach Lipovsky are a pair of talented filmmakers, best known for their 2018 sci-fi thriller Freaks. And the script has been co-written by Guy Busick, who previously co-penned Ready or Not, the last 2 Scream films, and the recent Abigail. And on top of this, Final Destination 2 star AJ Cook, who played the film's protagonist Kimberly, was spotted on set last year, suggesting she just might have a surprise cameo or supporting role in the film. The legacy sequel approach may feel tired in 2025, but bringing Kimberly back into the fold, given the murky nature of her post-Final Destination 2 fate, would be a smart way to get longtime fans on side.